Hi team, it's Miss Cash and happy Thursday. Make sure that you have a pencil and a piece of paper and let's get started for math review. I'll give you about 2 minutes to start with this first question if I can get my phone to stay. All right, here's your number. I would suggest starting this problem by labeling the place value of each of the digits. You may begin. Take about 1 more minute to finish up. Okay. So whenever I have to have a place value problem like this one, I usually like to make sure that I've already proactively labeled each of the digits to save me time later on. Okay, so I'm gonna rewrite my number right here so it's really easy to label. And I'm just gonna start from the ones place and label. This is the ones place, tens, hundreds, thousands, ten thousands, hundreds, thousands, and millions. This number is 9,301,053. Okie doke. So the first question says, what is the value of the 3? So I'm going to head over to the 3. Oh, it's in the ones place. So that means there's 3 ones. My answer is simply 3. Easy peasy. B says, what digit is in the 10,000s place? I've already labeled it, so I can just check right here. 0 is in the 10,000s place. C says, what is the value of the 5? What? Let me look at the 5. 5 is in the tens place. 5 tens would be 5, 10, 15, 20. Oops, I just counted by 5s. 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. The value of the 5 is 50. And then the last question says, how many tens are there? That's pretty easy. We already figured that out. There are 5 tens. Okie doke. Let's move on to a fun perimeter question. Now, before you begin, make sure you remember that perimeter means the distance around. So you're going to need to measure all of the different sides of this star. It says find the perimeter. All sides are equal. I see one side is already labeled, so go ahead and solve that problem. Don't worry about this one yet. Start solving this problem. I'll give you about 1 minute to solve. Okay, so first I need to figure out how many sides this star has, because remember, perimeter means distance around. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This has 10 sides. I'm going to write that here just so I don't forget. Now, I see that one of them was labeled 3 inches. So I know that all the other sides are also going to be 3 inches. 3. Oh, man. My marker's really not helping me here. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So I can solve this in 2 ways. One way I could write it is to write out 10 threes. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? I could write out 10 threes. Or I could just write 10 groups of 3 equals question mark. So that looks a little bit easier to me because I know that 10 times 3 is just 10 3 times. So my perimeter is going to be 30 inches. Now, I also could have added every single one of those 3s. I also could have counted by 3 and gone like this. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Or I could have written them out 10 times because there's 10 different sides in the star and then split to solve. But the fastest way is to realize that I had 10 groups of 3 or 10 times 3 and then go 10, 20, 30. My answer is 30. But my answer just isn't just 30. It is 30 inches. That's really important because a 30-inch star is way smaller than a 30-foot star. So it's always important that we include the unit when we give our perimeter answer. All right, the last question asks you to count back by 100. So make sure you're going backwards, not forwards. Start counting whenever you're ready. Take about 30 more seconds to figure this one out. Okay, so when I look at this, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm a little freaked out. Because if I have to count back by hundreds and this number is 315,110, that is like pretty close to 0. So I know I'm probably going to need to break into the next 1,000, which kind of freaks me out. It's kind of scary. But fortunately, there's an easier way to do it. So this is the way we always did it in Cornell. So hopefully the other classrooms can also enjoy this fun trick. I am going to box off my number because this tells me how many, here, I'll make sure that it's really clear, how many hundreds I have. This is how many hundreds I have right now. I don't need to worry. Sorry, that's the number of hundreds I have right now. I don't need to worry about the tens and the ones places because they're never going to change. I'm counting by 100s. So my first question is going to be, okay, how many hundreds do I have right now? I have 3,151 hundreds. Now, I know that the last 2 digits, the tens and the ones, are going to stay the same no matter what. So I'm just gonna add them in right now so I don't accidentally forget. My lower place values will never change. Like if you're counting by tens, you never change the ones place. If you're counting by thousands, you don't change the hundreds, tens, or ones. And if you're counting by hundreds, the tens and ones are always the same. So 3,151 100s are in this number. If I take away one of those, what would I get? Well, I just have to count backward. 3,150. Now the next one is going to be 3,100 and what's one less than 50? 49. After that, it's going to be 3,148. Keep in mind, the hundreds place is always the one changing. We did have to change thousands here, but if I'm just counting by hundreds, it makes it pretty easy to think about. The next one down is 3,147, and then finally, 3,146. The way that I did this was by boxing off the hundreds so I could figure out how many hundreds I had and then just count back so I have one less hundred each time. Now, one thing I want to make sure of is that I have my commas correctly placed here. So if you remember, you start at the end, you count 3 digits and add another comma. Now let's make sure that our work makes sense. 315,110. 315,010, that makes sense because 10 is 100 less than 110. 314,910. Now, I realized that we had to switch our thousands here, so it makes sense that just like with a flip chart, instead of having 0 hundreds, we now have 9. 314,810. 314,710. Now notice, pretty easy here. The one digit that's changing is the hundreds, and then 314,610. All right, team, have a great rest of your Thursday.